Hello YouTubers! Today's tutorial is a short introduction to one of my favourite tools, Blender. I really enjoy using this tool because it's a great way to get creative and develop a skill set at the same time. Blender is a free, open source 3D computer graphics software with a few different uses such as animated films, art and printing 3D models. I like to use it to create 3D models and export them to be used in the Unity game engine. If you need to download Blender, follow the link in the description below. As I said, it's free to use, as most of the tools that I use are. If you haven't already, start by opening up Blender and just click anywhere to get rid of this little message. First, let's discuss how to select an object and some ways to move the camera around so you can see what you want to see from the angle that you want to see it from. Start by creating another cube. On the left-hand side, go to Create, select Cube, and as you can see, it's placed it in the exact same coordinates as the original cube. Let's move it to the side by left clicking this green arrow and just dragging it, just so that we have something as another point of reference. To select between objects in Blender, we right click on them, as you can see, and to select multiple objects, you hold down Shift and right click on the other object that you want to select. We now have two objects selected and we can move them or change them at the same time. If you want to undo something that you've done in Blender, just the same as most things is Control Z, or if you want to redo, it's Control Shift and Z. We'll go back to where we were before. Now for some basic camera movement. If you want to swivel the camera around, click mouse 3, which is usually the mouse wheel, and just move it around into whichever position you want. Zooming is scroll in or scroll out, once again on the mouse wheel. And if you want to slide the camera from side to side, hold down Shift and the mouse wheel and just drag it in whatever direction you like. Now we can get several different angles on whatever shape we're manipulating. Now that we understand a little bit about camera movement, let's get rid of the cube that we just created. You can do this by selecting it and pressing Delete on the keyboard and Enter to continue. Now to begin manipulating this shape here, we've got to select it again. We go down to Object Mode down the bottom here, left click on it and select Edit Mode. If you notice down here, there's three different ways that we can edit a shape. You can edit by vertex, edge or face. Let's edit by face. As you can see, all the faces are selected by default. To unselect them, you can press A, this unselects all the faces, and A to reselect all of them again. But we're just going to select two faces, so right click on one face, swivel the camera around, hold down Shift, and right click on the other face here. We're going to manipulate this shape by scaling it. So to do this, we press S on the keyboard, and if you notice, this will scale the entire object altogether. We only want to scale by one axis, and that's the X-axis. So press X on the keyboard, and you can see we can grow and shrink just on that one side there. So drag it out a little bit and left click to confirm where you want it. Let's put a pointy edge on this shape. Select just one face and we're going to extrude this time. So pressing E on the keyboard, drag it out just a little bit and left click to confirm. Then we're going to press W to bring up this handy little set of options here and select Merge at center. And now we have a pointy end. Let's manipulate this shape a bit further. Select the top face. Extrude, pressing E, dragging up. Now we're going to scale the face, just this one face by itself. Press S, drag it out, and left click to confirm. I'm going to extrude this face one more time, just to get a bit of depth. Now I'll quickly tell you about subdivide. To subdivide, we press W to bring up that same menu again and select subdivide. This will cut the face into symmetrical rectangles. I'm going to cut one more time just to give myself a bit more selection to play with. And I want to select these multiple faces here. A quick way to do this is by pressing C, and it brings up this handy little selection circle, and you can just left click on any of the faces that you want. I only want these four faces here, so to get rid of the other ones, I'm going to mouse 3 on top of them. And now I just have the four faces selected. And we can do some handy little tricks like extruding on the inside And now we have this great little box sort of shape. Now that you've learned a couple of basics to get started with Blender, I strongly encourage you to have a play around by yourself, try out some different options and features, and think up some creative shapes that you might like to try, and just create them. If you want a little challenge, try and make a little house or a cup, just like these ones. And to improve your learning, I've provided a link in the description below to some valuable basic keyboard shortcuts on my website. If you enjoyed this brief introduction to Blender, please like, share and subscribe to support me and follow up on other videos that I produce, or follow me on social media. Don't ever stop learning, and I'll see you next time.